This week has been intense, to say the least. Let's be honest, this whole year thus far has been intense, but last week I released a video and it was called I'm Rethinking Social Media. If you haven't watched it, I'm going to link to it in the description below. You may want to watch it first before you watch this video, or watch it after, just for full context of why I'm talking about what I'm talking about and why I'm sitting on the floor and look a little ill-prepared for today's video. The first thing I want to say is thank you. Yes, you. Thank you for being here, because it is, like I said last week, a really fascinating thing to watch, that when you show up and you speak up, you inevitably are going to see a massive amount of loss and also gain. So the purge continues. People are continuing to leave. And I know this sounds strange, and it took some time for me to get to this place, but I celebrate that, because I've realized that if I'm actually standing in who I am and showing up publicly in a way that matters, it's going to be polarizing, and that's okay. And the fact that you are here, and the people I want to commend the most is the people who said to me, this video made me really uncomfortable, but I'm going to stay. Even though I don't agree with you on everything, I'm going to stay. And I was like, yes, that's good. That's progress. I don't need you to agree with me on everything. And the response to that video was so overwhelming to me. And I want to talk today about some of the things that came up after I shared that video, and a lot of the questions and the conversations that I've been having, and there's been a lot of them, about how do we move forward? How do I move forward? What does it look like? I know that you look at me as somebody who has mastered social media and knows a lot about it, and I do. I've been doing this for 10 years. And now I'm going to do it, but do it better, and do it in a way that actually has more impact. And so I want to share some of that with you in just a second. But the thing that really came up for me and is continuing to come up for me is I'm so used to being a planner. I'm so used to being perfect. I'm so used to showing up fully prepared that this is so uncomfortable for me. I'm also very used to knowing exactly what I'm going to say and what the outcome's going to be. And the fact that I had no idea what the outcome was going to be from that video, I had to actively detach myself from it. And I don't know if this is helpful, but before I shared it, I had to send it for my own sanity. I had to send it to the people closest to me in my life, because what I've realized is I know my truth, and the people who really know me know my truth. And so I needed them to know and see it before I shared it with the world. And I truly didn't know what was going to happen. And the response, the fact that there's over 1,500 comments on that video, and the amount of kindness and community that it has created is just, my heart could explode at this point. But it's still uncomfortable. I'm still scared to share this video. It's still a work in progress. I'm a work in progress. And it's like a muscle. And I think that's what I'm realizing, is that the more that I speak up, honestly, truthfully, from my heart, the stronger I feel every time. And even with this video, like I said, this makes me nervous to share this video. I am detaching from the outcome. I don't know the outcome of it. And it's a complete disruption to what I've always sort of practiced and preached. But all of the tools that I've shared can also be used moving forward and to do things even better. Because one of my greatest weapons is my ability to amplify content and amplify messages and amplify voices and empower you to know how to use your voice. And that comes from my own struggle of not knowing how to use mine for a very long time, and in a lot of moments that were really, really important in my life where I just couldn't find the strength to actually speak up. So yes, this has been very uncomfortable for me, but I'm okay with that, and I know that my growth is coming from discomfort. And like I said, the pain is your power. So as much as this has been anxiety inducing and really, really uncomfortable, I know that I'm growing so much as a person, and that is a wonderful, beautiful thing. So the algorithm, let's talk about it, because it was one of the biggest questions that I got out of that video. And one of the biggest comments I got from the video that I noticed was a lot of people said, this is great, Sunny, you should start a separate channel to talk about causes and talk about social media and marketing on this channel though. No, not gonna do that. And that's part of the problem. I'm not gonna compartmentalize a cause. I'm not gonna compartmentalize me as a person, because that's not real. And another big question I got was, as a business, as a brand, as a personal brand, how do you know what to say? Like, how do you incorporate activism into what you're saying? And the first thing I want to say is, like, I am learning. I am not perfect. I don't really have the answers, but what I will say is I just don't see them as being separate. And I also don't see it as just simply wanting kudos and praise for posting a video or putting a black square on Instagram. There is no participation trophy here. It's about the work that's happening behind the scenes and allowing that to reflect and show up and how you show up everywhere else. Isn't it a crazy thing? Like, this is what blows my mind. Isn't it a crazy thing that we've all been using social media for so long and talking almost every day? And now I'm kind of thinking back and I'm like, what the hell was I even talking about for so long? And my promise to myself moving forward is that I will not share anything unless it's 100% coming from my truth and my heart. And it's going to go across a bunch of different types of content and topics and all these things. But the one thing I know is that one of the greatest pieces of disrupting the algorithm is being 100% yourself. Because when you're 100% yourself, people will find you, community will find you. The amount of people who came out of nowhere last week and had been subscribed to my channel for a long, long time, but said they never commented before that video was really interesting to me. When you show up and you speak your truth, the community will follow and the algorithm will know who to show you to. And it doesn't mean that everyone has to agree with you, but it just means that you're showing up with greater purpose and greater impact. And so the purge continues. I'm continuing to lose followers, but I'm also continuing to go deeper with you. And that's all I could ask for. And it really comes back to figuring out how you measure success. My measurement of success is not about vanity metrics. I could care less at this point. I used to be, very interested in vanity metrics and all of that stuff, and you still need to quantify them, and everything that I've taught over the years still applies. It's just using it for a greater good. And so with the algorithm, I mentioned this last week, but if you consistently are following the same kinds of people with the same sets of beliefs, that's where the danger comes in, because that creates those echo chambers. So for me personally, how I have gotten out of my own echo chamber is I have actively sought out people who have different backgrounds than me, different experiences than me, don't look the same way as me, and I'm listening. And I'm taking in what they're saying. And that's really what led to me speaking up, because you start to realize that everyone's connected. I've always known that, but it really has become so clear. And I talked about this, that our pain is our link, our story is our link. And whether you look the same way or you don't, every single person on the planet, you are not immune to pain. You are not immune to hurdles. You are not immune to mistakes. And those things are the things that make us human. And those things are the things that connect us. So I have been listening. I have not walked in the shoes of a Black, Indigenous, or person of color. I have not walked in the shoes of an LGBTQI individual. I have not walked in those shoes. But I have listened. I've paid attention. I'm so empathetic to it. I feel that pain for myself, and it just gets to a place where you're like, I'm either going to suffocate because I'm silent about this and it's on my mind, it's on my heart. My throat has felt tight because I knew I had something to say for so long and I couldn't get it out. And so after I released the video last week, it was like this big of like, there she is. There she is. She's arrived, everyone. Late to the party, but I'm here. And I'm myself. And it's really freeing. So one way to disrupt the algorithm, first and foremost, is really auditing your feed. but also in your life, auditing your community around you. Do you have people around you that are coming from different backgrounds? If you don't, that's okay, but work on it. Like, do you have people who have different perspectives? Or are you constantly just hearing, you're right, you're right, you're right? And if you are, that's sign number one that maybe you should open up your circle. Maybe you should open up your perspective. And with the algorithm as well, here's one of the greatest things that I have discovered and that I am doing. And also I'm understanding that so many people are freaking terrified to speak up right now and don't know what to say or how to say it, etc. And I'm not going to shame you for that, and I'm empathetic to that. And what I will say is that it doesn't have to be public right now. That's just the superficial layer. Like I said, there's no participation trophy for posting a black square. This has been going on for so long that it's going to take a lot of time to recover from this. And what I've noticed is like some people just want to wrap this in a bow and move on from it and be like, yep, I did my thing. I posted the black square. I went to the rally and now we're going to just move on. There's no moving on from this. And there's no, business as usual. And so this is integrated into every layer of my life, this work. And Rachel Cargill, who I can't recommend enough to follow, she mentions that one of the biggest things that you can do as a white person, and the equation that you need to follow, is knowledge plus empathy plus action. And that's what I'm really trying to live through. So I've actually put a bunch of resources below of things to read, things to watch, ways to get involved, people to follow to open up your bubble. But the other part of the algorithm, which I think is the most dangerous thing that we can do in a good way, is use your attention as a weapon for good. And please don't yell at me for using the word weapon. Okay, so what I mean by that is, next to money, attention has become our greatest currency. So I have been very mindful that when I'm on social media, I'm only interacting, engaging, and supporting and sharing things that are purposeful and that are on the path to change. And I'm ignoring pretty much everything else. And that's a little micro thing to do to disrupt and change the algorithm. Because you're telling it, you don't want to see superficial shit. You don't want to see another freaking selfie. You want to see the people who need to be seen. So that's one way of disrupting the algorithm, and one of the things that I'm doing moving forward as an individual, and in addition to a lot of things that are happening behind the scenes. I said before, and I don't know if you can relate to this, but I was talking to a friend and I said, I feel like I'm constantly hungover right now without actually having had a drink in a very long time. And I think we're kind of all feeling that. There's a lot to learn, there's a lot to take in, there's a lot of growth, there's a lot of discomfort, and there's a lot of people who don't want to see or talk about this right now, and I get that. But what I also know to be true, and what's been a big part of me speaking up, is that there was a quote that I saw that resonated so much with me, and it was basically saying, when you have kids, when I have kids, let's say it's 20 years from now, and I'm telling them about this, and this time in history, because we're living through history right now, when I'm telling them this and I can say, yeah, I used my voice, I spoke up, I was a part of the change that now you're reaping the rewards of. Or they're gonna ask you and you're gonna be like, no, I was too scared to say anything. And again, it doesn't have to be publicly. And there should be no shame for anybody who's processing this and taking their time, because it's not checking off a box. It's not doing what you think you should be doing. It's focusing your currency, which is attention, on the right things and the things that are actually going to make an impact and a difference. That's how you start to disrupt the algorithm. And showing up as 100% as who you are is also how you disrupt the algorithm. Imagine if we all did. Imagine if we all spoke about the things that actually really mattered to us as individuals, instead of just trying to talk about the things that we think are going to make us successful because they've made somebody else successful. That's again living somebody else's life. That's again the trap of trying to achieve success on everybody else's terms. You are here for a reason, and this is what I know about you. You're a little rebel. I'm a little rebel. I don't want to be put in a box. I don't want to be put in a bubble. I don't want to be told what to say, what to think, what to do. And after this week, I had so many people say to me, how did you do this? What's your plan moving forward? What's next? You're such a leader, etc. Please don't look at me like that. You are the leader. You are the person who needs to figure out what your next move is. I am going to continue to do the work and lead by example, but I'm not your hero. I am not a guru. And I think if this year has taught us anything, just because somebody is elevated on a pedestal and has perceived power or influence doesn't mean that they know what the hell they're doing. So you have to have radical accountability for yourself to figure out what you can be doing on a micro level. What can you be doing in your family, in your community, in your business to make a real change happen that's gonna last a long, long time, not just lip surface, not just superficial. No one else is your hero. And so many heroes have been knocked off a pedestal this year. And if we constantly rely on somebody else to fix a problem, I mean, look where we've ended up. I think that's what I'm realizing is social media is a system, it's part of a bigger system, and the only way to start disrupting it is to know how to work it for a greater purpose. And I am actively working on that and doing that every single day. So one of the biggest things I can say to you, and just a little challenge that I'll give to you now, is audit your community online, audit your actions in real life, audit your community in real life, and figure out where the gaps are. And it's okay. It's okay if there's gaps. It's okay if you're feeling imperfect. That's the part of growth. Nobody is going to be perfect right out of the gates. I have so much to learn, and I'm learning. And I'm dedicated to learning for life, and I'm dedicated to making this a safe space. I will not tolerate intolerance, period, end of story. I'm using that block button every single day because I just don't have time for it. And I know that it feels a little bit isolating right now, and it feels scary and like you're alone in wanting to say something right now. But what I've learned in the last week is that you're so not alone. There are so many people out there who are waiting for you to use your voice, and it's going to empower them to use theirs. And that's going to create the ripple effect that's ultimately going to lead to greater change. It takes one little step, and that's going to lead to so much more. And it takes little steps behind the scenes and also publicly. So wherever you're at right now, that's okay. Honor that, but also make the decision of what you're going to do. I don't have the answers, but I'm doing the work. The last thing I'll say is there's a quote from Gandhi, and this is going to sound so cheesy, but it really is the truth. Be the change you want to see in the world. And that's what I'm thinking about every single day. So again, kind of a random video, but it's my truth. So there's that. Let's have a conversation in the comments. I'm still doing my best to review all of the comments from the last video. I'm going to do the same from today's video. Please leave resources below of people and causes and things that are opening your hearts and minds, so we can share those resources. And yeah, let's disrupt by being ourselves. Being you, being authentic to who you are, being at peace, being courageous is a radical act. So do it. I love you. I'll see you in the next one.